Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon of First Our Top Stories. ADC accuses federal government of hiding religious clauses in US-Nigeria health deal while demanding for full disclosure. FCTA and FCTA workers begin strike over met demands while shutting down operations. NAF says over 40 terrorists killed in coordinated airstrikes in Borno. Federal government dismisses claims by Northern Elders Forum, says Lagos Gold Refinery is private project. Outside Nigeria, European leaders slam Trump's tariff threat over Greenland. And in sport, FIFA condemns Senegal for unacceptable scenes in AFCON final. Those are our top stories. Details coming up in just a moment. We begin the news with party politics. The African Democratic Congress ADC has asked the federal government to immediately clarify the content of the Health Operation Memorandum of Understanding MOU recently signed between Nigeria and the United States, citing concerns over alleged conflicting framings. In December, the U.S. signed a 5-year bilateral health MOU with Nigeria to strengthen the country's health system with a strong focus on supporting Christian faith-based healthcare providers. The agreement is expected to expand access to essential preventative and curative services including HIV, tuberculosis, malaria, maternal and child health, and polio interventions. Under the MOU, the U.S. government intends to commit nearly $2.1 billion over 5 years to health funding in Nigeria, while Nigeria will provide its domestic health expenditures by nearly $3 billion during the same period. The U.S. government has said that the agreement remains subject to its broader foreign policy priorities and that its President and Secretary of State should retain the right to focus or terminate any programs that do not align with the national interests. In a statement issued on Sunday, Bolaji Abdullahi, ADC spokesperson, said while the Nigerian government had portrayed the MOU as an inclusive framework to strengthen health security and boost domestic health funding and financing, the official statement from the U.S. introduced identity-based elements that were absent from Nigeria's account. Abdullahi said the U.S. description suggests that spending under the MOU could be targeted at health institutions linked to a particular religion, a framing that violates Nigeria's constitutional provisions on non-discrimination and national unity. Workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration and the Federal Capital Development Authority Monday commenced an industrial action shutting down activities across Abuja over what they described as unmet demands by the federal government. At the FCTA Secretariat, there was heavy security presence at the entrance, with personnel from the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps and the Nigeria Police Force stationed at the gate. Workers were barred from entering the premises. The strike is expected to affect all FCTA secretariats, departments, agencies, area councils, and parastatals, effectively grounding official activities within the Federal Capital Territory. Earlier, the Joint Union Action Congress (GUAC) issued a strike ordering workers across all cadres of the administration to withdraw their services by Monday, January 19, 2025. The directive was contained in a statement, with the unions stating that an earlier ultimatum issued on January 7 had elapsed without meaningful engagement from management. According to the unions, key grievances include the non-payment of outstanding promotion, arrears, delays in the conduct and release of promotion exercises, and what they described as a continued expansion of service for retired directors and permanent secretaries, a practice they said was blocking career progression for serving officers. The workers also accused the administration of failing to remit statutory deductions, including pension contributions and National Housing Fund payment, warning that the situation could jeopardize the future welfare of affected staff. The Nigerian Air Force NAF says over 40 terrorists have been killed in coordinated air strikes carried out in Azir and Musaram area of Borno State, foiling planned attacks on civilian communities. Disclosing this in a statement on Sunday, NAF spokesman Commodore Ehimen Jodame said the precision strikes were coordinated and conducted on January 15 and 16. Ejodame stated that the strike were executed by NAF aircraft operating under the air component of Operation Adunkei, following credible intelligence of terrorist movement and imminent threats to nearby communities. According to him, further scans revealed terrorist elements are attempting to regroup under nearby tree cover, prompting precise and successive air strikes that neutralized several of them. On his part, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, reaffirmed the NAF's commitment to providing timely and decisive air support to ground forces. Aneke said the operations demonstrated the effectiveness of intelligence-led air power and close air-ground coordination in denying terrorist freedom of action. He assured Nigerians of sustained pressure on terrorist elements as the armed forces of Nigeria continue efforts to degrade their capabilities and stabilize affected areas. Vice President Kashim Shettima is leading Nigeria's delegation to the 56th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. The summit will be held from January 19 to 23, 2026. His arrival in Switzerland to attend the forum, which brings together global political and business leaders, followed his visit to Conakry, Guinea on Friday, where he represented President Bola Tinubu at the inauguration of President Mamadi Doumbouya. According to the statement by Senior Special Assistant on Media and Communications, the VP on arrival in Switzerland was received by the Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tugar, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment Jumoke Udwale, and officials of the Nigerian mission in the country. The World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos attracts thousands of participants, including heads of government, chief executives, civil society leaders, and journalists. The 2026 edition is expected to focus on global economic challenges, technological innovation, and climate action. This year's forum marks a milestone in Nigeria's participation at the annual gathering, with the federal government establishing a dedicated sovereign pavilion on the Davos promenade for the first time. The facility, called Nigeria House Davos, was established through a public-private partnership. It will serve as a hub for ministerial engagement, investment roundtables, and cultural diplomacy throughout the week. The Vice President is expected to commission the facility during his visit. Now, the federal government has dismissed claims by the Northern Elders Forum (NEF) that it violated the principle of federal character by citing a gold refinery in Lagos. This was contained in a statement signed by the Special Advisor on Media to the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Segun Tomori, in Abuja. The statement clarified that the refinery is a whole private sector initiative and not a federal government project. It described the allegation as entirely false and based on a misrepresentation of fact. According to the statement, the proposed gold refinery is the initiative of Kian Smith, a 100% privately owned mining company established to promote the development of Nigeria's local gold industry through innovative practices. The statement stressed that at no time did the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, announce the establishment or ownership of any gold refinery by the federal government in Lagos or any other part of the country. It added that the minister was clear that the refinery is privately owned, noting that more gold refineries are also being developed in other parts of Nigeria by private investors. The statement noted that the policy has attracted major investments, including lithium and rare earth processing plants in Nasarawa State and Abuja, generating foreign capital inflow and thousands of jobs for Nigerians. It expressed concern over what it described as a decline in the quality of the group's interventions on national issues. You are currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll go straight to our analysis segment with Peter Anosike. Joining me to help analyze our news item is Peter Anosike, a current affairs analyst. He is an academic doctor with PhD on consulting and profits management from Borno University in the state of Delaware, United States. He is the author of the book Abuse of Power: How Democracy Turned into Tyranny of the Few. Dr. Anosike, thank you very much for joining us on the News at 12.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with this what some people may call a political statement from the African Democratic Congress, ADC, where they've asked the federal government to immediately clarify the content of the Health Cooperation Memorandum of Understanding recently signed between the country, that's Nigeria, and the U.S., citing concerns over alleged conflicting framework. Now, some weeks ago, there was an MOU between the U.S. and Nigeria, a health MOU. Specific is a Christian faith-based healthcare providers. That's how the U.S. framed the discussion. But AGS have faulted the way the federal government have framed that MOU, saying the federal government framed it as an all-inclusive healthcare memorandum of understanding instead of a Christian faith-based healthcare deal. What's your take on that?
Well, the truth is that federal government always keep the citizens in the dark. They don't open up to us. We don't know what's happening. An instance, the tax agreement that they had with the French government up to today, we don't know the details. So, and this one too, now you get a different version from the United States. Here in Nigeria, you get that's a different version. So for me, this is one Nigeria, one people, one country, unquote. So I will not be in support of any
deal. Or understand?
No, religious-based medical treatment or facility. Understand me? To me, it doesn't. That it is dividing us more than uniting us. If you are bringing a health solution to Nigeria, it should be people of all religion, of all tribe. Understand me? Understand? There shouldn't be for Christians only or for Muslims only. So I'm not in support of that. But this is coming because Nigerian government is not open. They always keep us in the dark. They don't allow us that to hear what is going on. Just like the mandates that they have with the U.S. over this insecurity. That's that. They are not telling us the whole story. And when somebody is keeping you in the dark, what happens? One, rumor will come up. Understand? Now that the gap that the people will want that to fill that vacuum with superstitious things, which at the end of the day will not go well. So I've not really read the detail of the agreement, but it must not be faith-based.
Now,
because everybody in the country is going to pay.
Now, this deal came just few weeks, 1 or 2 weeks actually, after the airstrike by the U.S. in Sokoto, and I think this is also coming under the premises of the Christian genocide. You still think that doesn't justify the health deal?
Christian genocide does not in any way justify this. Understand?
Well, that was the premise at which the deal was struck.
Because if I should speak now, there should be more Muslims in the hospitals than Christians. Understand?
Okay.
So it shouldn't be, because it's going to be paid by the federal government, and our government is not faith-based. Understand me? So anything health, anything economy should be for everybody. Understand me? Anything health, anything economy should be for everybody and not faith-based. Because right now, I know that Tinubu is trying to look good. Understand? That's to the Americans, and that's why he is currently shopping for a Christian vice president. Okay. Understand? That's why he is currently looking for a Christian vice president. So, and that's on the same educated me on it. Educated me on it. Yeah. Why Kuka cannot be a candidate, a vice presidential candidate.
Okay.
Understand? Because the Catholic doctrine that is against it.
Okay, but it's they can be governor of a state.
No, the same person told me that Hyacinth Andia is under suspension for meddling into
politics.
Partisan politics.
Himself suspended to be vice president.
he can even decide to be an atheist, because I'm seeing serious this thing that's in him. Understand me? So, but I know that Tinubu cannot run with a fellow Muslim in 2027.
Now, back to the deal. Though, according to the deal, the U.S. government intends to commit nearly $2.1 billion over 5 years for the health funding in Nigeria. Faith-based or no faith-based, $2.1 billion. That's a huge money.
That's a huge amount.
That should,
which is almost the amount that the federal government budgeted for health in 2026 budget.
Which has not made any difference in our health sector anyway.
No, they have not started implementing 2026 budget. But the budget for health was 2.4 trillion. Which means what America is bringing in is higher.
Yeah.
You say it. Which means they care for us more than our own government care.
Well, it's interesting to see how this works, because I mean, monies are coming in. You know, even the federal government has admitted since a few subsidies, the state governors, the local government chairman have been getting a whole lot of money.
I don't believe that.
But we don't see
what the value of the money. What is the value of the money that they are they are getting? Just like some days back, when Ojos Okando said that what Anexoti got in 4 months is what he got in 8 years. Understand? So, but we sat down and made a research. We discovered that Ojo Okando got 14 times more than what Anexoti get, based on the value of money at the time.
The only difference is Alex Otti is making good use of the money he's getting, and that is where the conversation is.
Why the other one was he and his mother were standing on their own.
But that's where the conversation is now. Does the value of the money matters more than you seeing the reasons for this money? I mean, you should see good road, hospitals, good.
Because FOBRA would not be impeached. Understand? And the APC Governors Forum will throw Nelson Wike under the bus.
Well, what about what the president wants? Because it's hard to believe that
President can.
it's hard to believe that the president will support Fubara against Wike.
I say, Fubara will not be impeached. Understand? And the Wike will be the loser at the end of the day. When Tinubu cannot allow himself to be pitched against the APC governors, because these are the people he is relying on to win 2027. Understand? So Fubara will be there, and Wike that will be thrown under the bus.
Well, however it was done, Wike delivered the presidency to him in Rivers State. However it was done, I was very careful to use that. Wike delivered the presidency. And the president should be confident that Wike will deliver 2027 to him too. How strong is Fubara in Rivers State?
2027 and 2023 is not the same thing. Some people will be ready to die in 2027.
Well, it's the same electoral system we're using. There's no change so far.
But America is watching. America did not watch 2023. They are going to watch 2027.
Oh, okay.
And that's why Tinubu is shopping for a Christian vice president. Because he knows that 2023 will not be the same thing as 2027.
Okay. Now, the Nigerian Air Force says over 40 terrorists have been killed in coordinated airstrikes carried out in areas in Borno State following planned attacks on civilian activities. Well, it looks like the military is finally working. I mean, we've been hearing this news, but how effective do you think this will be, this particular story, again in the fight against terrorism in Nigeria?
Well, remember what Sheikh Gumi said, that if America kill 1,000 when they come out. Understand? So that's why with all the news you are hearing of killing, disarm, they are still coming out on a daily basis. Meanwhile, what we are reading now is the account of the federal government who want to give the impression that things that they are now
doing well. They are working.
Sure.
And you don't think it is true?
I didn't say that. I said what we read is the account of the federal government, and there are two sides to every story. Okay. As a journalist, you should know.
But what other side are we going to hear now? I mean, the journalism in Nigeria has become, the federal government brings out a statement and every news carries it, just like we're carrying it now.
But the other day, we read of how the bandits bombed the army barracks too.
True.
Did you hear that from the federal government? You didn't. Understand? So everybody is hyping his own side of the story.
Okay. Now, the federal government has dismissed claims by the Northern Elders Forum that it violated the principle of federal character by citing a gold refinery in Lagos. According to the government, a private organization is citing a gold mining company in Lagos. And then the Northern...
Excuse me, is it mining or refining?
Mining, actually. Sorry, mining in Lagos. It is a mining industry, citing a refinery. That's the story. But either way, whether mining or refinery,
which means there's gold in Lagos State, is that?
That's what we don't know.
So begin to see falsehood in that story, because I know that there's no gold in Lagos State.
In other words, because they can't cite a mining gold refinery in Lagos until there is a gold in Lagos. You
are making different statements. You mine before you refine.
Okay.
You can mine. You can mine in Plateau State. You can mine in Borno. You can mine in Zamfara, and now come to Rivers. To Lagos to refine. Okay. But for you to mine, it means that there's gold there.
Okay. And
I've never heard that there's gold in Lagos State. Because when we talk of mining, we are looking at commercial quantity. Just like this oil we are talking about, there's crude oil everywhere. But those that have been mined are those in commercial quantities. But I've never heard that there's gold in commercial quantities in Lagos State.
Yeah, I think a bigger part of what we're seeing here is refinery.
And I said it. So, and those days when they taught us economics in school, we were told nearness to source of raw material. Why must you mine in the north and come to the south to refine? That's what the Northern Elders Forum are complaining
about.
Sure.
But then again, we've had some discrepancies in terms of information in the gold, because I think there was a debate, if I remember correctly, at the National Assembly where they were talking about refining gold, where the argument was that, well, the gold they have in the north is small quantity. There is no refinery, there is no mining, and we keep hearing conflicting stories, like that. And we'll begin to ask, is there a gold in the north or not? What happened to the gold? Is it federal government owned or is it owned by the states? And then the conversation was now evolving around, okay, the oil we have in the Niger Delta, the federal government, it's been federalized, which means these states can't claim ownership of this oil. They only get certain percentage from the federal government. Why is it different for other mineral resources in Nigeria?
The issue is this: according to to the resource and control, understand? This gold orders are in the exclusive list of the federal, so they're under the control of the federal government. Understand me? Gold, coal, and bauxite, bitumen are in the exclusive list of the federal government. Okay. So it's only federal government that has the right
to control those.
To control it. Understand me?
Okay.
So then, when an individual is now setting up a refinery, understand? Okay. Has he been given a license to set up to set it up? Understand me? And where we have that gold in commercial quantity is in the north.
Okay.
Understand me?
Okay.
Then why must you mine in the north and come to the south to refine? Because when you are mining, there's environmental degradation. Understand me? You are damaging all the soil of the people, and they need the compensation. Understand? So, and if you set up a refinery there, you will employ people from there as a way of compensating them for the damage that you are doing to their soil.
Well, the same thing can be said for oil. I mean, we have refinery in Kano State. There is no oil in Kano.
Yes, because of the system that we are running in the country. Understand? We also have a dry seaport in Kano State. Understand? And these are bad governance. Understand me? So the Northern Elders Forum are complaining because this one does not favor them. Understand me?
And it's reasons like this why people are clamoring for regional system of government where every region, every state will have control of their resources instead of everything
from
starting
the center,
and ending.
Because what we are running is a unitary system of totalitarian system of government. Everything for the state and nothing for the people.
Wow. Okay, Dr. Anosike, thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
That was Peter Anosike, a current affairs analyst. He's an academic doctor with PhD in consulting and profit management from Borno University in the state of Delaware, United States. He's the author of the book Abuse of Power: How Democracy Turned into Tyranny of the Few. And out to business news, Nigerians continued dependence on cash withdrawals through automated teller machines ATMs in the first half of 2025, withdrawing 36.34 trillion naira between January and June 2025, almost 3 times the 12.21 trillion naira recorded in the same period last year. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria's quarterly statistical bulletin show that the increase came despite a revised fee regime introduced in March aimed at discouraging excessive cash usage. The removal of the previous allowance of 3 free monthly withdrawals on other banks' ATMs further increased the cost of accessing cash rather. The Apex Bank attributed the review to rising costs and the need to enhance efficiency in ATM operations. Withdrawals accelerated quarter by quarter despite the higher cost. In the first quarter of 2025, ATM withdrawals totaled 15.97 trillion naira, nearly triple the 5.46 trillion naira recorded in the same quarter of 2024. The momentum strengthened further in the second quarter when withdrawal rose to 20.36 trillion naira compared with 6.57 trillion naira a year earlier. Under the new CBN framework, customers withdrawing from another bank's ATM now pay 100 naira for every 20,000 naira withdrawal, while off-site ATMs attract additional charges of up to 500 naira per transaction. The Apex Bank said the review was driven by rising operational costs and the need to improve ATM efficiency. And on to international news, European leaders have condemned United States President Donald Trump's threat to slap tariffs on countries that resist its bid to take over Greenland, warning the move risks a dangerous downward spiral in transatlantic ties. In a joint statement on Sunday, the 8 countries targeted by Trump for new tariffs said they stand in full solidarity with Denmark and the people of Greenland, a semi-autonomous Danish territory. The rebuke came as European officials were preparing to hold emergency talks on coordinating a response to Trump's escalating pressure campaign over the future of the vast island. European Council President Antonio Costa said on Sunday that the bloc was united in upholding national sovereignty and to defend ourselves through and against any form of coercion ahead of planned extraordinary meeting of member states in the coming days. European officials are expected to discuss a range of options for responding to Trump's economic threat, including retaliatory tariffs and market restrictions for U.S. firms. Trump announced on Saturday that 8 countries would face a 10% tariff from February 1, rising to 25% from June 1 until a deal is reached for the U.S. to buy Greenland. The Financial Times reported that the bloc was considering imposing 93 billion euros, that's $108 billion worth of tariffs on U.S. goods, as well as activating the anti-coercion instrument commonly known as the trade bazooka adopted by the bloc in 2023. The mechanism, which has never been used, allows for sweeping restrictions on investments and the withdrawal of intellectual property protections for foreign firms in the bloc. And finally, on our sport news, the FIFA president Gianni Infantino has condemned some Senegal players for the unacceptable scenes which overshadowed their victory in Sunday's Africa Cup of Nations AFCON final when they walked off the pitch in protest at a penalty awarded to Morocco. African players' showpiece event was marred. African football's showpiece event was marred by most of the Senegalese players walking off the pitch when deep into injury time of normal play. With the match all square at 0-0, Morocco was awarded a spot kick following a VAR check for a challenge in Brahim Diaz. Senegal's former Liverpool star Sadio Mane remained on the pitch and urged his teammates to come on back onto the pitch for the penalty. They were already furious at having a goal disallowed at the other end of a soft-looking foul minutes earlier. Meanwhile, trouble broke out in the stands as some Senegalese fans tried to enter the field of play and became involved in fighting with security personnel. The game was held up for almost 20 minutes before Diaz could take the penalty, and his weak Panenka kick was saved by Senegal goalkeeper Edouard Mendy. Pape Gueye then went on to score a brilliant goal in the 4th minute of extra time to give his team a 1-0 win. Infantino, while congratulating Morocco on a fantastic tournament, both as runners-up and exceptional hosts, a boost ahead of them co-hosting the men's 2030 World Cup, said teams have to abide by the match officials' decisions. Infantino, who will be hoping there are no such scenes in this year's World Cup finals being co-hosted by the United States, Canada and Mexico, said images such as those on Sunday sent the wrong message to supporters around the world. And just before we go, here again are our top stories. ADC accuses federal government of hiding religious clauses in US-Nigeria health deal, demands full disclosure. FCTA and FCTA workers begin strike over unmet demands and shut down operations. We also brought the story that NAV says over 40 terrorists killed in coordinated airstrikes in Borno. And the federal government dismisses claims by Northern Elders Forum, says Lagos Gold Refinery is private project. Outside Nigeria, European leaders slam Trump's tariff threat over Greenland. And in sports, FIFA condemns Senegal for unacceptable scenes in AFCON final. And that's the world news at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon of Do follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.